All right. I'm assuming if you've opened this up, you've watched the other video already. And so I'm going to walk you through a few things, both substance-wise as well as structure-wise, if you're gonna, especially if you're gonna do the PowerPoint. A few notes though that are germane to everyone. First, number one, if you're in this class, it's because and you're doing this project and you're linking it with the 812. Well, actually, you're all doing that. One of the issues that some of you will come across is that perhaps a failure hasn't per se occurred yet, but maybe your case study is at identifying the possibility of a failure, and that's part of it. So you have to be creative about how you address that, because some of you aren't doing case studies on a specific case. Your case study is actually about a law or a regulation, whatever. So in addition to the requirements that are for all the other students who have to do that same project, you have to add on the necessary elements that relate to this class. In particular, the rules, regulations, and issues that were discussed in the Solov text. That is key. If you don't address that, if you don't address the relevant stuff from there, I should say, then you're really not doing your job, to be perfectly blunt. So you not only have to make sure that you addressed the frameworks from Donor, Airlie, and O'Hara that are relevant, but you also have to make sure you address the relevant materials from Solov and Schwartz, which I guess should be obvious, but if it's not, then shame on you, because, I mean, it's the main text for the class. Every week we've used it. Just saying. All right, so just to make sure I'm clear, for those of you who weren't quite catching all that, short version, you have to be creative about adapting the modules and stuff to fit not only the requirements for the other class, but also this class. So you have creative leeway in order to do that, and you have to just make good decisions. I mean, that's the difference between, say, a high school and undergraduate versus a graduate student. You are expected to sort of think through the possibilities and decide, well, what's the most effective and powerful way I can address and communicate these objectives, which I don't think are unclear. If they are, go back to 812, reread them, and then if you're still unclear, let me know. Anyway, one other thing that's germane to everybody. For this project, I do not want 2 submissions. I only want 1 submission. Do not submit this for both 812 and 852. I will create 1 upload in 852, and you will use that. The grade will apply to both classes. But I don't want this confusion of crap everywhere. And then, oh, that's not the one I meant you to grade, blah, blah, blah. So, if it's not an 852, it's not getting graded. Period. End of story. The end. So as long as we're clear on that. One other thing, if you're doing well, actually, I'll get to that later when we get into the PowerPoint. Okay, so I have 2 PowerPoints from students who did a fail project that I don't think are particularly fantastic. And oddly enough, these are otherwise, really strong A students, among the best in their cohort, probably going to go get a PhD someday, whatever. But I want to illustrate for you what I'm not looking for with respect to the fail project, the fail side of things. This one deals with the tailhook scandal. At times he does an okay job, but honestly, it's sloppy and messy, and it's really unprofessional. And I want to illustrate this. Look, so the tailhook scandal, for those of you who don't know, had to do with Navy aviators sexually harassing female naval aviators. That's the very short version. But it just looks sloppy. Look, he's got like a little hook, and it's on every slide. He does a good job most of the time of putting the information in here. Remember, one of the criteria is if you can do the PowerPoint, it doesn't necessarily give you less work than doing it as a written it's really in a way about a creative outlet and a way of creatively packaging your ideas. But let's go back to the beginning. He's got this stupid hook, which I told him to get rid of. He's like, no, it's cool, man. No, it's stupid. You wouldn't give a presentation to 500 professionals with this damn hook there. It just looks sloppy. And just like the throwing the, and I don't know where he got my template from. Actually, no, I gave him one of my PowerPoints with the templates there. There's lots of good templates that this, my template is actually fairly customized, and he didn't use it right. And I warned him, you don't want to do that, but he's like, no, I'll be fine. No, you weren't fine. It looks sloppy. If you're going to, I don't mind trying to use humor and stuff like that. Just make sure it's actually funny and relevant and on point. Because ultimately what you're being evaluated for is whether or not the substance of your content is relevant and on point. And remember, as I think I just said, but I'll say it again, this artifact, this PowerPoint, is, you have to imagine that you're giving a presentation to, let's say, 500 people who are professionals in the field in some way, shape, form, or another. So they're a knowledgeable audience, but they know nothing about your case. Literally assume they know nothing. What material would you put together to articulate your story, build the arc of your narrative, as they say, and to communicate powerfully your points? I highly encourage you to use illustrations and visuals and stuff. This is a visual medium, but you have to have your script down here, okay? So this isn't simply just doing pictures and stuff and bullet points. It has to be effective. Like, look, for example, look how sloppy this is. So he's got this here, and then this headline. It's like a different kind of yellow. I mean, it's a yellow that doesn't match this. And then, see how stuff is just all over the place? It's just sloppy, honestly. And I told him, too. I said, dude, this is sloppy. I gave him an opportunity to remake it, because I gave another student an opportunity. But look, see how this headline here, resistance, is different from this one with gist? Consistency, consistency, consistency. And if you're going to break a rule, you make a new rule. I mean, that's a basic story of any kind of design exercise. But yeah, basically you need to think through how you're assembling your various elements to effectively and powerfully tell your narrative. I have a checklist of all the modules, and what I'm looking for is the content. However you address it, you have to decide. You have to make decisions. That will... All right, let's move on. Ooh, that's pretty cool. Anyway, you will have to make the right decisions. What have you? If you have something that requires a lot of text, like a law or something, you have to decide. Well, maybe you should include that as part of your bibliography. Maybe your bibliography, which I'll talk about in a little bit, involves slides. Sorry, no, it involves your cited sources, but also an appendix with all the language of the law. Actually, let me talk about that right now. If all your sources on each slide, if you're using a specific source to say something or whatever, make sure you cite it somewhere in there. It could be down here in this area. It could be up here if you think it's relevant and important. But I don't want this at the end, because I told the student specifically not to do this. He didn't pay attention. I don't want this references at the end. I want a real bibliography in a separate Word document that you will upload. And if you need to put language from particular laws or the in full law, or if that's relevant, and you don't think it's sufficient to put it inside the PowerPoint, then make an appendix B, additional materials or something. I don't know. Think creative. You are not constrained. Sorry, the only constraint you have is you. Okay. And by the way, what I'm laying out to you also applies to those who are doing the project not as a PowerPoint. So Anyway, see, look, here's this black and white picture. Fine, you can only find a black and white picture of that person, I guess. Then you got Senator McKean. Not a big fan, but anyway. Look how sloppy this is. Fine's black and white, and that's a colored picture. It is what it is. But like, look at this. Like, this is not even with this. You can't even read it hardly. It's black text on a dark red background. See, all these things need to look like a professional got a hold of it and was giving a professional presentation. There are great templates. Some of them crap, honestly, in PowerPoint, but whatever. Let me show you another one. This one actually I kind of referenced in the last presentation. I hate this one. Matter of fact, this is actually literally the best, one of the strongest students in that whole cohort that did this project this last semester. This is sloppy. Most of the slides don't even have any comments, don't have any notes. See? It's designed in such a way where it's more about presenting the scandalous pictures than I think of really like dissecting this very complex case study. Even though in this particular case, I gave the student a real lot of materials that they could use that I just happen to have. Actually, we're using in our ethics courses moving forward as a case study we're going to be using instead of the NOPD. But that's neither here nor there. The fact of the matter is like there's no reason for this kind of messy sloppiness, especially from what should be a good student. I mean, look, I'm already, what is it, 4 slides in, and there still hasn't been a single, the script isn't here, the notes aren't here, just a bunch of words on here, which is fine if they're relevant. I like the fact of having quotes. I mean, quotes are a very powerful thing, and they really can illustrate something, with a very simple image or even just the quote by itself. But there's nothing here. There's no there. There's no substance. Unfortunately for this student, she didn't do very well at all on this assignment. But I got lots of great pictures. So finally, we're 5 slides in. Now all of a sudden she starts putting stuff. Now remember, this is your script. This is, if you, I might as well show you this. Hold on a second. Let me see something. Just to illustrate how this works. Some of you probably don't know this, but let's see. So I'm doing this in real time. I'm not editing this, so you're gonna get all my ums and ahs. So oh well, sucks to be you, or maybe not. Maybe you enjoy my ums and ahs. I don't know. It's kind of weird, isn't it? Let's see. 852 presentations. Oops. There we go. Let's see. Week 8. All right, just to illustrate something, I use these all the time. I spend a real lot of time building my PowerPoints so that they are visually appealing as well as relevant, and I have a script. Not all, I would say 90% of what you hear in my presentations are script. Now, when I get to pages like this, I just make shit up as I go along. But on a lot of these pages, I have my script. Now, I can also speak extemporaneously, which is awesome. If a group of 500 people, I probably would only have very little scripting, just because of the way I operate. But I've done that a number of times. I know how to do that effectively. And you're not doing this live. You're doing this vis-a-vis this medium of the PowerPoint. So, I'm not telling you to do things I don't do myself or can't do myself, or whatever. Oops, that's Abu Ghraib. I wanted Abu Ghraib. So yeah, this is just, it just looks sloppy. It's a lot of, it's like garbage around the edges. It's just not appealing. It's not very professional. I probably said that word too many times. Like look, here's an example. Here is a chart of um, the chain of command or something. I don't know, but I wouldn't know because it's sideways. Isn't that stupid? It is stupid. So why put that sideways? If you have an image that's so large that it won't fit right, make it fit the best you can, and then put it in your appendix. Hello, Jesus. Sorry, now I'm getting all crazy. Anyway, so I hope this is helpful. See, like this. Okay, this student, wants to put these labels all over the place. Criminal, with him. How is that proved in this presentation? That's the other thing I told her. How is that proved here that he actually was, criminally involved? We know these people were, and we know that certainly there was rank above them that must have been involved in some way, but it wasn't proved through this presentation. And that's the thing. This isn't a medium for you to espouse your political beliefs per se. It's really a case study that requires careful analysis. Make sure analysis is careful. Anyway, I think that's good enough. Have a good one.